lot of stakes behind this one. And the other thing that's interesting to me is the pressure that was on Homeless to deliver from the start of the season, right? They were one of the favorites to go to the major.
Yeah, exactly. I think that, well, I had these guys as actually the favourites to go to the major when I first saw their roster, and unfortunately them losing out to Bliss means that they can't get a flawless stage, and therefore they can't go to the major. But in this matchup in particular, Dev, I'm really hyped for some of the rivalries that are coming through, right? Just look at that. You got Hayward on one side, X-Knights from quite a long time ago, playing against what are also now X-Knights players too. And look, I think between these players, I don't know how much you're in touch with the whole FPL scene and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
But I feel like there's some rivalry in there, you know, there's some blood.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. A lot of these guys were FPL demons back when that was going, when we had the 10-man servers. And you can see that love shared in the chat right here. For me, another thing that I'm really excited for is this Aerial Arise storyline. These guys came in as underdogs, in my eyes, through the open qualifiers. They were the only team that actually got knocked down into that loser bracket, despite the massive names on the roster. On what's more than that, they actually took down Circular Spheres last week, which was a huge win. You know, CS have been destroying everyone else, including Homeless. They took them down, which is one of the reasons that we don't see Homeless in a position to fight for that major.
Yeah, I think that Aerial Arise are one of those teams up on the rise. There you go. As each week we've seen them really improve every single play day. They came into stage 1 having just formed as a team literally like a week before the last chance the open qualifiers going into it. They had 2 scrims before they played that open qualifier. They're here now, and every single week without fail they have continued to impress us and show us some better Siege than what we've seen last week. This is the final boss.
Yeah.
This is Homeless. It's the last play day. These guys experience, they're good at Rainbow Six. Let's see what Aerial Rise can do.
And of course, we're going to club. I love a bit of club.
I
I know
love
we
club.
see it quite a bit, Mandy, but it's definitely got its special place in one of my favorite maps. And we've seen a lot of different innovative strategies on the map. While some people can say that club's getting a little bit tired, I love that we get to see a little bit of spice up every now and then, whether it's wild cards, ridiculous hard hold kitchen strategy, or in here what seems to be fairly traditional, but with some of the flavor of like a Valkyrie to potentially go for some roams, or the Azami to really fortify that site.
Interesting. I think just we kind of flew through the ban phase.
We
but
did.
The ban phase is sort of playing a part into this defense, right? You've got Maverick off the board and you've got Hibana off the board. So opening walls, hard, right? You only have Thatcher, you only have tin can openers, you only have Thermite, whatever, right? It's you don't have the flexibility of having those Hibana charges that you can use to play the Hibana mini game on the kitchen hatch, that type of thing. You can't be as flexible with what you can get open going into this basement. So I think Aerial Arise going all the way down to that basement floor is locking out some of the opportunities that Homeless have to attack this bomb site. It's going to take a lot more effort to open it up, and I think it's a good choice for them.
I'm really excited to see some of the operators that have slipped through this ban phase. So while Solus was taken out, that left Azami and Valkyrie in, both really powerful defenders. Even the Mirror, a bit more situational, but powerful in its own right. And on the attacking side, I'm looking to that Ying, which OJ has brought. Now, we've seen Homeless have the Ying banned against them by a couple of different teams, NQS and Mammoth, so far in the league. And Ying just to be a staple ban for a lot of teams, not just within OS, but in the general global meta at the moment. Such a great disruptive operator. And as you mentioned it, tin can openers as well.
Of course, yeah. So Ying is going to be one of those mission-critical operators to this mid-round part of the push as they start to get their way into the ground floor, because she has the tin can openers and can start to get open these hatches. Blue hatch, of course, is going to be pivotal to roll in those candelas and go for that execute as they make their way to the ground floor and go into the planning phase of the late round.
This does feel like quite a swift attack as well. No roam from Aerial Arise, but Homeless made really good work of that full clear and have now got to basically the point where they've opened up 2 of the 3 hatches. I don't know if they'll intend to try and open the 3rd one here in Kitchen.
So this 3rd one's going to be pretty tricky to open. You've got Hayward down below, who has got 2 impacts in his hands, and Juicy has only got 1 more exothermic charge, and OJ has only got 1 more tin can opener. So both of them could be tricked if they don't play this right. Maybe they're going to send a Candela down to try and distract him.
Oh, there you go. OJ does throw it. Aerial Arise do get stunned a little bit. So Hayward was full white, but he was still able to get in a position to impact trick that hatch.
Imge's to send down the blue stairs. It's going to take away all of those ADSs, and the Candelas can ring true. The execute to start to come through for Homeless.
Great use of the Candelas there, but now they have to deliver on the back of them. Last Candela in hand now for OJ as it goes out and is caught in the ADS. Wet's found 2 kills here in blue, leaving OJ all on his own. And the crossfire from Aerial Arise is just perfect. That's a great hold and a good start to the game here for Aerial Arise.
Tough push for Homeless to be able to accomplish there because they couldn't quite get the kitchen hatch open. That means you can't go for a kitchen execute. Even if you want to do a execute onto the triple wall, you've got a mirror there facing it with half of the wall open. So that's not very fun to push into. Dropping the moto hatch unfortunately leaves them in the crossfire of the Jaeger play inside of blue and of Nate inside of Church as well. So no matter what Homeless did there, they fell short to not having enough hard breach to open up all the hatches and therefore not having enough options for that execute as it came through.
Well, there you go. We're already seeing that Hibana ban come into
tough.
effect, right?
So tough.
Homeless are the ones who banned it, and now they're the ones paying for it.
It's pretty rough. Look, they're going to go onto this top floor bomb site, and for the top floor bomb sites, both CCTV and gym, less hard breach required.
Yeah.
You want to get the main walls open, you want to play the entries, but ranged hard breach, not necessity, right? So I think they're going to find this a little bit easier than the last round.
The thing for me that's going to be really difficult to attack is this Azami. We got Smacker playing it at the moment, and he's got quite a bit of an extension up inside of the rafters, as Sky, our observer, has showed 2 Kiba barriers to hold on to here.
Yeah, nice repick as well from Josh. Just as he was saying that Azami was going to be difficult to deal with, I looked at the lineup of Homeless and thought, that's not a lot of explosives, and then I saw the Ash pick come through as well. So nice pick up from Josh to try and deal with that Azami setup as they all shape their way around this eastern side of the map. And there you go, Smacker, the Azami himself, immediately taking an early engagement.
He's playing very aggressively here, and he has been droned. That's a great spot out from player. Not sure whether Smacker actually got red pinged and that forced him off, or whether he was just a bit worried, a bit cautious. But that's a decent start now for Homeless.
Double Azami setup inside of Rafters is going to make it quite challenging for Homeless to actually enter in through Garage, which looks like what player was going to do, and looks like what they're going to at least try to achieve as they get the breach open and forces all the defenders to rotate back and fall off towards this cache side of the map.
Yeah, quite a forfeit of ground here by the defense of Aerial Arise. Player has made his way into Garage. The main breach of CC is open, but so is a line of sight into CCTV from Cache itself. Now, Quiz might be caught out here. Smack is going to go for the jump out, but Quiz is not going to get caught by it. He does get taken very low HP, but thankfully, he does take down Smacker, all the Kiba barriers with him.
That's exactly right. All the Kiba gates are now gone from the rest of the round. Smacker can no longer generate and put those down, but the next part of the push has to come through. Supreme on very low HP is feeling the pressure of the breach and is actually going to look for a swing, but not before being traded out by player.
This has been excellent work from Homeless to keep pace here. Player just misses an opportunity to take down Wet, who does get back to site safely. But now Aerial Arise are in a 2v3, and Homeless have a lot of time to work with here.
Look, it's a 2v3, but it's still winnable, I think, right? For Homeless, they only have one more hard breach on the side of OJ, so unless he's already opened up that Jacuzzi wall, that's probably going to be staying closed, and that's exactly where we see, I believe it is Wettables with that MX Storm in hand. He's going to very comfortably be playing that position, but that being said, I think the breach has just been opened, so it's going to be made a little bit more tough for him.
Yeah, very awkward now. OJ does have one Selma left. He could try and breach an additional area, but he's now repositioned to Con, so no one's actually playing outside that breach. Nate in a great position here. He might be able to take down player. Out of ammo in that SMG-11. Oh, so punishing if you miss. And now Nate's the last one left. OJ to jump in master and finish him off. And that's a good response, Mandy. We're keeping pace here. Homeless tie up the score 1 each.
Yeah, it's getting nice and exciting, isn't it? Already round 2, and we're seeing the back and forth kind of game come through from the early to mid round. I liked what Aerial Arise tried to do holding out early on the adjacent side of the map, but not being able to fall off safely, maybe taking a little bit too high risks, going for jump outs, going for peaks like this rather than falling off, did leave them in the dust as the execute came through.
Maybe we are teased a little bit here of a good game.
It's going to be good.
There's a decent amount on the line here, right? This is a battle for 4th, and as I said before, right, so if you look at the standings right now,
battle for money.
There's a battle for money, but a battle for pride as well, which I know matters a lot to these players. Having talked to them, like the smack that they talk in ranked and FPL and scrims, out in the community. It matters if you end up above your mate or your rival. But what's more than that for Homeless, actually is a chance that they could jump up to 3rd. So they're on 9 points right now. Circular Sphere's above them on 12. So Homeless would need a regulation win. Circular Spheres would need to get a regulation loss. And then it comes down to round difference, which is actually not that close right now. So Homeless do need as convincing a win here as possible to jump up into 3rd.
But it means that NQS have got to beat
Yeah, well, that
Secular
too.
Spheres, don't they?
That too.
That's a bit of a tall order, I think. So
Hey,
I reckon this is the fight for fourth.
Aerial Arise beat Secular Spheres last week.
It's not the same.
It's not the same. All right, well, we'll get to NQS when we get to NQS. The poor guys on the bottom of the standings. For now, okay, let's position this as the fight for fourth.
This is the fight for fourth.
Okay.
They're going to go for the wall, Dev. So double hard breach Thatcher, I think, is the right way to go against this. However, there is no one tricking on the other side, even though Bandit is in play. So that's going to be opened up nice and easy for Homeless. Step 1 done. Step 2. Oh, it's find a pick, apparently. Player looking for a lurk on the opposite side of the building inside a strip club is going to be able to find Nate.
He had a really little punch hole in the strip to pull wall, which is really nice. And Quiz has found one from the rappel position, went over aggressing. This is a bit yikesy now for Aerial. And now they're just playing super aggro, Smacker and Supreme both, but I think Juicy actually might have a cam on it. So yeah, this is a bit of a yikes.
Yeah, so a bit of a curious decision there for Wet to decide to swing the breach. Unfortunately giving away his life, and now quite a strong man disadvantage for Aerial Arise. Will force them to try and aggress and look for a pick. Try and even up the man count, because if that execute comes through in a 5-on-3, it's not going to be nice on the site.
Yeah, players now made a lot of headway here on the master side with Josh droning ahead of him. Quiz also in con. So great map control now for Homeless. Man advantage by 2 players. Aerial playing patiently, which you kind of don't blame him. Don't want him to get over aggressive again. But also it just feels like it's time for Homeless to lock it in.
Opening up the con side breach as well. A minute left on the clock, and a nade being cooked by a player to try and take down the power position of Smacker, who can actually claim a kill of himself onto Quiz. OJ to try and make this breach a running hole as well, so potential executes come through from this con side of the map. Play can cook up a second grenade, but that doesn't connect either. Can only just take down the shield, and Supreme getting aggressive on the breach onto Juicy can collect him as well. Man advantage even.
It is. Players still downstairs as well with Smacker to meet him. OJ and Josh are going to have an explosive entry here. They have the rough idea of one position, but they're getting scared off, Mandy. I think things might flip here, but player can start to recompose now for Homeless. Hayward gets caught out. A massive round for player. The newbie on Homeless stepping up with a massive 3K. And while it looked a little sketchy there for a moment, they don't let that round slip away from them.
Yeah, great lurk on the Nook, immediately finding that opening pick. From coming in that strip side, you noted there was a punch hole in the wall, reading into the fact that there would be a player inside the bar. You can cut them off. Not only that, but using the nades to clear out power positions from below, claim another kill, and then wrap around to garage as the execute came through as well. Big round from player on that lurk.
I love to see that. This guy's never really had his chance, right, on a big OCN team before. Yeah. But he's been kicking around in the scene for what feels like years. And he's playing some real Modern Siege. Like, that is kind of the epitome of Modern Siege. I feel you always need that real power lurker. And he played that to perfection that round.
I think it's good fun as well, right?
It's
I mean,
actually the most fun you can have playing this game,
exactly.
I swear.
I feel like we haven't seen play around a lot because he's quite young, right? He's only just recently turned 18, I believe, this guy. So he hasn't really been in the scene for all that long. And so finding his place in a Tier 1 team now on a very exciting role must be a very fun experience if you're him, right? There's no other role that you'd want to be playing than give me the license to walk in the building with a 1.5x scope and try and gun some people down. That is exciting.
Yeah, I'm tell you what, Nook mains are the main characters. It's just how it works. It's this meta, right? Like, if you are the lurker, you are the main character.
That is so funny. Oh my gosh. It's so true because you make all your side characters watch all your drones
exactly.
for you as well. Oh, it's hilarious.
And they like do the main push and you just get to go make hero plays and look for opportunities. I actually love it.
That is hilarious. The rest of the team trying to carry the story forwards though. Player's actually going to be on the no more lurking Nook for him as they start to clear upon this top floor. The basement bomb site is the one of choice for Aerial Arise, but there is some roam presence going over on that master side of the building, and it's forcing Homeless to sweep the map.
Yeah, a lot of presence upstairs here, but this is imperative for clearing this position, taking the map control. I like the aggressive hold from Aerial, but Homeless have been pretty diligent so far. They've got a good establishment inside of Cash and players out here on the balcony as well, so Supreme's about to feel a lot of heat.
tricky part here is that it's going to be difficult to cut off that main stairs position. Oh, unless Quiz can just drop the logistics hatch and claim the first entry. Smacker now in a world of pain as Quiz can collect the second. Really nice roam clear and sweep of the map so far. Wet still lurking inside of that ground floor, but he has a fall-off route of his own.
Yeah, unfortunately he is able to get down the moto hatch because Josh was actually cutting his rotate down the main stairs. Now there is a flank here from Hayward up inside of CCTV.
Oh no, this could be such bad timing.
And now into Cash. Surely not. He can find player. That's a big kill. Juicy's actually still all the way out in spawn, and so he's going to watch out for him. Hayward trying to make his way back to site safely, but this is a tall order with Juicy watching secret stairs.
It's so unfortunate for player. You could see him just put the flank drone on the bottom red stairs as well, anticipating that flank would come through, but the Oryx of Hayward already wrapped around into that top floor. Juicy seems very aware of his position though, as he crawls his way through the ground floor, and in fact Hayward will fall back down through oil.
Probably the right decision here for Aerial Arise to get all their players down on site. Now, this was a very difficult attack last time. The last time they played it, they actually lost it for Homeless, right? It came down to that kitchen hatch where they just could not get open.
Yeah, so once again, they're facing the adversities of having a lack of hard breach, but this time there are no impacts to face this kitchen hatch trick, so no minigame needed to be played there. They also have the option of going for triple wall, but with only 20 seconds left to go, it's going to be a kitchen execute.
And they're going to have to deliver the final blow on this execute. Great nade, forcing that defender back, but not delivering the kill. Now the gas comes out from Nate, but Josh is making a hero play of his own. Wet is able to respond. And now a 2v3 becomes a 2v2 as Wet Tables starts to fire up a little bit. He's got this 1.5 times scope and he's looking for a couple of heads. Quiz up above the hatch now, sends out a nade. And OJ, I think, just from short, has done a lot of damage here to Wet. Now snuck his way into Cash, and Quiz is once again maintaining control above. OJ does delicately weave his way around the site and find the final player. So Homeless, a great post plant from them on the back of that execute.
Valiant attempts at a retake from Aerial Arise, able to claim it back into a 2-on-2, but when you have top floor control like that, it is always going to be very hard to contest that vertical. It's going to have to force those defenders to actually rotate all the way back up the stairs, kill the player on the kitchen hatch before they can even think about defusing, right? So Quiz was always going to be in the right power position for that post plant, and OJ to come in for the backstab as well was the medicine that they needed to close out the rounds. They're going to repeat though this basement bomb site, and it looks like they've brought along the impacts this time.
Yeah.
So once again, Homeless are going to struggle through that mid-round, playing the impact trick minigame. And no Hibana on the board will make that pretty tricky.
I'm a bit confused, man. Like, why did Aerial Arise go for this massive, ambitious, entire map roam setup last round when the first time they full 5-player turtled it with impact tricks and it worked?
Well, it's about being unpredictable, right? Like, you want to try and force the attack to problem solve something new. And I think for things like Clubhouse Basement, if they've seen this hunkered down setup, surely Homeless will create a more set solution, right? They're not going to loiter their way through the mid floor anymore. They're going to say, okay, let's actually fight the triple wall, right? Maybe we will dump utility on it with the ace, for example. That's what OJ's brought along this time, rather than bringing along the Ying, right? For example, so by having repeated this bomb site again, and by having repeated the exact same strategy, you can already see Homeless is starting to adapt to a more set push.
Yeah, but you said the name of the game is being unpredictable for Aerial, and while it didn't work out last time with that roam, a bit of a cheeky, aggressive peek in the garage, Nets Wet his opening, and that is player as well. He had one huge round, but aside from that, he has been fairly absent. And Aerial Arise with the full turtle strategy, with a lot of these great anchor operators, I think they're in a pretty significant advantage here very early on in the round, Mandy.
Key thing with player being taken down is that's taking down one of the 2 sets of nades, so serious lack of explosives going to the Izami setup that they have set up to. Not only that, but there's also a shield on the side of the Warden. It's just generally going to be quite hard to clear this fortress that they've got set up in the back of Arsenal, near AKs, near Mannequin. There's not a lot of explosives to deal with this, and no more Ying as well, right?
Yeah.
So this setup is going to be very cut and dry. It's going to be a lot of dry peeking. It's not going to be aided by utility when they go for that execute.
I'm a bit scared that Quiz actually decided to use one of his nades just to clear a single barbed wire in blue, perhaps not realizing how scarce that explosive utility was for his team and how much there is to clear, because you've got a shield and all these these Azami positions as well, but have a look at that mirror window, dismantled very well.
Yeah, exactly, much better, right? They've read it into the strategy because they've seen it before and they realized, okay, tin can openers, not enough hard breach, let's go ranged hard breach instead. Bring along the ace, and now they're immediately working into the triple wall. Looks like it's going to be a Moto hatch drop execute with a minute ticking down the clock, and Juicy taking some damage from an aggressive peek from Supreme, but can claim one back for himself.
Oh, and a second now. Now there is something here, and it could be something nice for Aerial, as they have fought back and got the man advantage back on their side. A lovely shot from Supreme. Spotted for a second by Quiz at the bottom of main stairs. He's going to have to 1v3. No diffuser. Caught down and short. A decent crossfire here from the Aerial players.
Looking really nice for Aerial Arise as they were able to clean up the picks, coming through with the breach being open. Supreme in a power position behind that bar has left Quiz in a 1-on-3.
Very awkward now. A lot of power positions to hold. A lot of Azamis. Quiz is going to have to keep dancing around these angles. He knows it's a shotgun he's peeking into, but he does get the down and immediately follows up with a headshot on a smacker. He's got this long angle, but Hayward fortunately saves his team from embarrassment there. Oh, and if all those three players on the right had their cameras on, you'd be seeing some sighs of relief.
Well, if that was a bit tight for Aerial Arise, they did a good job at clawing that one back through the mid-round as the bomb site started to be cut down from that triple wall and from the Moto hatch. Supreme was in a fantastic position behind that bar to be able to peek out onto the breach, use a shotgun to his advantage as well, and claim back some kills. Not only that, but it was Smacker as well, double down from that long angle that he was holding too. So just generally, Aerial Arise maintained their composure even as that church bomb site started to explode.
Tell you what, Smacker really got deleted that round.
He really did.
He would be fuming.
He really did.
Oh, but Supreme really did have a massive impact on that side position, didn't he? Credit to Aerial Arise, but the scary thing, Mandy, is they're on Clubhouse, which is, by most accounts, a fairly defensive-sided map. And now they're pushing to try and find a third defense when Church and Arsenal is now locked.
Yeah, I think not only that, but the way that I see the attacker bans as well, it should lean into the defense even more, right? There should be some exploitable stuff in your setups that you should be able to use consistently. I like that this time Aerial Arise have at least brought along Bandit, right? Or to try and get this trick going off the wall. They didn't bring that last time, they didn't even contest the walls, even though the walls are so hard to open with the lineup that you've got already. So I like that they're leaning into the setup that is available to them a little bit more.
I do expect here, though, for Homeless, that it's just going to be a fairly rudimentary Ace and Thermite at the same time breach. You put one on each wall, and it is possible, but very difficult to juggle both charges on both sides.
I think you may as well try, though, right? Like, try your luck, see what you can collect. If the breach is a bit finicky, that means that your player on Rafters is going to have a little bit of a better time, right? So let's see how Wettables goes. And he's actually going to be able to get both here, I reckon. Oh, he gets one, but not the second. But leaving that as just a line of sight is actually quite challenging for the attack, right? They can no longer put an exothermic charge on the wall because that's going to get impact tricked by whoever's playing inside of that garage window position, right? And you can't really use that line of sight all too well unless you're standing on the balcony and sticking your face in it. That's pretty scary. Yeah. So I think, honestly, I feel like the defense has done pretty good here. Yeah,
that's a massive win for the Bandit of Wet. 100%. And what's more, you can't actually play the rappel angle through that line of sight, right? You really have to, like you said, stick your face in it. And we've got two players in Rafters, one player bot Garage. You got Nazami and a Wamai defending this Rafters position, so I can't help but feel like Homeless would be doomed if they went for an attempted garage take. So I'm glad they're going for master control.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I have to agree with you on that. One more exothermic charge for Juicy is going to be placed on that con side wall, just as you alluded to. He's put it as low as possible so it can't be impact tricked, but there is no one on the other side to do so regardless. They can start to try and shape up for this execute, but all those players in garage holding the line of sight, the entry into the bomb site is going to be quite challenging to face.
Now we meet ourselves with the extended mid-round here. As Homeless look to try and find a pick, will be necessary to go for this execute. And wow, the Azami as well, plugging up the main breach, so this is very difficult. I don't mind that. There's a plant going down with over a minute left on the clock, but a double kill from player might make this winnable, despite that plant being denied. But here comes Wet from the top of red stairs, using Ace's holes. Bit of taste of his own medicine. 2v3 now for the defense, but that C4 does only a bit of damage now to Supreme. As the plant's going down, Wet's going to have to swing. It's so unwieldy, it's so difficult. And Josh stands up with the pistol. It's up to Supreme in a 1v3 retake now. As Homeless are on the verge of winning their attack half. This is a massive ask now for the Wamai, who's finally made his way up the stairs, but just doesn't have the information to get this clutch happening. Round in the corner, and they are just toying with him. OJ finally locks it in, and that was quite a round and a fantastic half for Homeless.
I'm actually so shocked that player was able to brute force himself into the bomb site like that to start off that execute. He just swings in from the condor, takes down 2 players in the garage, and there's no crossfire from Red. Both garage players are not really looking at him. It's like, wow, that's big. That is massive from player as he made his entry into the bomb site. Not only that, but Josh getting up from the diffuser with the pistol in hand to assassinate one of the last ones. Oh, the calamity that came through in that execute was just unreal. Here it is. Both defenders barely even looking at him. This player on top Red that doesn't kill him till later. I really feel like this was the nail in the coffin, I think, for the defense. And Josh, this was it, right? That moment that pistol kill came out, that was like, oh wow.
I mean,
that's not great.
No, yeah, that's putting it mildly. It takes a lot of awareness and restraint to actually get up and go for the pistol kill, go for that 1v1 if you know that your teammates aren't in positions to cover you while you're planting, right? A lot of people are like, we're in the 3v1, my teammates should have me. Credit to Josh. If he hadn't, I reckon that probably would have been a clutch.
No, I feel like that's a big Josh move. Josh
really?
is so chill, I think. Like, if Josh is there in that situation, he's planning, there are probably comms going off all in the background, and he's thinking, damn, someone's about to round the corner and kill me.
He had the Spidey sense.
He definitely has the Spidey
tingling.
sense. Yep. And I feel like if it was anyone else that might have panicked a bit more, they probably would just be like, just stick it, exactly. Or just like freak out. But nah, he gets up with a pistol and he's like, all right, cool. He's dead.
The pistol as well. I mean, that is something else. I can't help but feel like we're really on track for a convincing Homeless win now. You said it, that Hibana ban has made things difficult. And while we do have Kaid and Solus ban on the defense, they're both really good operators, I just find it hard to muster a lot of confidence here for Aerial.
Yeah, I think so as well. There's a lot that they have to do to be able to open up this basement bomb site. If they maybe dedicate themselves super early to like a triple wall type push, it could work. I mean, they're not playing the mirror. These guys, the Homeless team, their lineup, they're not playing this aggressive like main stairs setup where they're sticking their face in a soft wall and shooting you. So it's a bit more viable to go down the main stairs and actually like try and open up that short wall. So I feel like Aerial Rise, they have their options cut out for them, but it'll still be hard.
But these mute jammers on the roam have made this a very slow clear. Fortunately, Aerial have done a decent job, but they are once again met with a mute jammer, which stops Wet from spotting out where Quiz is here upstairs inside a CCTV now. His wall behind, not even breached as of yet.
Yeah, Quiz is in a good spot here. Their fall-off route down through blue is not being cut off by any attackers so far, so they're sitting very comfortably on this eastern side of the map. Meanwhile, the rest of Aerial Rise are trying to make this sweep work, but it's a bit linear, right? It's giving a lot of room for the defense to still run free here. They're not afraid of a breach push, they're not afraid of a lurker inside a garage, because there isn't really presence there.
It's a bit of a mind game with map control here, isn't it, from Aerial Rise and Homeless. We do have still 2 players off site. Players made his way back down. Josh is sneaking down red stairs, and Quiz still hanging out in lounge for now.
The other thing to keep in mind as well is this blue is completely cut off, right? That Kiba gate is going to block the cutoff from that secret window as well. So both Josh and Quiz are going to feel very comfortable as they rotate back down to the site. Players able to collect the first onto Hayward, and a second C4 to sink as well for Homeless. Oh, this is looking like a done deal, Dev.
Yeah, this is very, very scary now for Aerial Rise. Losing 2 players to C4s. It turns out it's a very explosive round, Mandy, as Juicy's gone down to a nade as well. Aerial will try to secure that kill. Smacker's going to drop, but Wet's found an opening. Hang on a second, maybe there is something here.
Oh no, no one's looking at Smacker. Okay, surely there's a defender around the corner now. It's actually OJ, shotgun in hand, and can take down 2. Triple kill on the round with Wet in a 1-on-4.
Oh, it just fell flat, didn't it? Homeless are singing right now. Wet now finds 1 in the 1-on-4, but I don't think he's going to find the rest of them. There's Josh on the long angle. Easy as you like. A tactical timeout called for Aerial as they're 2 rounds away from going down to Homeless.
Yeah, look, fair enough, honestly. That was rough. They dropped the moto hatch there, and there's no one with their eyes trained on that push coming from the church door. That is so unfortunate. OJ able to swing with the shotgun in hand to take down 3 players, one with the C4 that he sunk. It just felt like Aerial Rise didn't really have an in on that round whatsoever, right? Both their entries were to C4s. That's unfortunate. That happens on the vertical. But then to fumble the execute like that when you're trying to claw back picks is just a sign of a little bit of uncomposure, I think. And taking a tactical timeout, I think, is what they need.
Yeah, just look at the way that this panned out, right? So Smacker, the second he looks away, his teammate is there as well. And it's one of those classic scenarios where you're like, you're watching the Moto aggro, right? No, I thought you were watching it.
Yeah.
Hang on a second, we're getting swung by OJ. Very, very unfortunate there for Aerial Arise. Homeless have been in vast control of this game from day dot, Mandy. Aside from that first round where Aerial had that really nice impact trick, it has just felt like Homeless's game, even that the second round that Aerial Arise won, only came down to a 1 versus 1. Homeless almost brought it back and clutched it. So this has really been quite a one-sided endeavor and a bit of a restoration of confidence for Homeless after the fashion that they went down to wildcard quite embarrassingly 7-2 last week.
Homeless have just been doing a really good job in this series to just brute force things. There are some things, I think, with the way that the bans have kind of played out that you kind of just have to inject someone there, just send someone in, take the gunfight that you need to take. And I think as these rounds have been quite back and forth, Aerial Arise often go for this maybe over-aggressive, sometimes peaks, they take risks, they like to do that kind of thing. Homeless is doing a great job at punishing that and pushing their players to actually take those gunfights, and when it comes to shove, they make the execute work every time. I think it's a real good testament to the way that Homeless have been playing and how much they trust their front line.
It really feels like a lot of those micro moments where it takes a good bit of game sense, a good read, and a quick but decisive decision. Homeless have always been nailing those. Things like OJ knowing to peek then. Things like Player in his lurks in the first half. Whereas for Aerial Arise, often, when they try and make those plays, they're not well-founded.
That's exactly right. It just feels like every Homeless micro decision is a little bit more calculated than Aerial Arise are. That being said, though, Hayward is able to find OJ on that logistics hatch, and actually not on the logistics hatches. OJ himself goes through a bit of a cheeky peek through dirt, but isn't able to collect the kill into Hayward. He knew it was coming.
Okay, well, Homeless are able to recompose for a little bit here. Juicy taken very low, but hang on a second. It's a very aggressive push as Wet has made his way all the way into Master before Player is there. Homeless can quite quickly recompose from what seemed to be an aggressive push from Aerial. And it feels like for the 4th time this game, Aerial Arise have themselves in a need to clutch position.
Really nice once again from the defense of Homeless to sit pretty on the bomb site. Look, Aerial Arise, they tried to change the pace and go for an execute through the mid rounds, even though they didn't have all the walls open, even though they didn't do all the steps. But it just felt like Homeless were there and ready for it, right? It's a bit of a predictable playstyle now that Aerial Arise have got. It's just, if you continue to try and find off timings through the round, which is what Aerial Arise have been trying to do through the entire series, eventually your opponents are going to read into it, right? So all the players on Homeless very ready for that to come through. And it was Player once again in a really prime position just outside of gym to deal with that.
Hayward. No diffuser. No damsels. No hope. He's just sitting on the roof. He's chilling. I think he's pretty much accepted defeat this round. And he's looking to pad the stats.
That's fair enough, honestly.
Hayward. 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 You know that song? Like I'm making a reference and you're just looking at me like I'm an alien. I needed a lot more validation from you, man, and you gave me absolutely nothing.
I got no idea what you're singing. I'm so sorry. I really...
It was Hey Ya! It was singing Hayward's name to the tune of Hey Ya.
Oh, right.
Am I really that out of tune?
No.
Well, you know who is? Aerial Arise, because Homeless have match point against him.
I thought it was beautiful, Jeff.
Thank you. This has proven to be quite a game, but not in the way that we were expecting. I think 2 rounds in we said we might have a game on our hands.
I know, we were so excited. We hyped this up so much.
Homeless walked straight up to that and slapped it out of our hands and said, no, we're taking this.
Absolutely not. The expectation that we set for Aerial Arise after it went 2-2, whatever the scoreline was. Whoa, so exciting. It's so close. It ended up being profoundly average.
Yes.
Unfortunately.
It's one of my favorite phrases.
Yes. Profoundly mediocre, unfortunately. We're going over to CC and Cash, though.
This is hard to defend.
This is going to be a little bit tricky to defend, I think. Because, well, They are not electing to bring along the anti-hard breach, so they're not going to play the trick game like Werewolves did. They're going to allow them to have the wall. And instead, Homeless are leaning into more playing internally, right? You have the Warden in hand, so he's going to run rampant wherever he feels like playing the 1.5x. You've also got the Azami set up. So I think they're looking for something a bit more interior of the map. They're willing to give the exterior of it to Aerial Arise and just try and face them as they make their entryway in.
We also have a Vigil, which is a bit of an odd pick to me. There's so many ways that you can just get onto the site quickly that roaming seems, at a glance, to be less impactful, but I think perhaps the read from OJ is that Aerial Arise are going to look to take control below and go for a lot of vertical play, go for alternate ways of getting in. Oh, no, he's just going for a run out, I guess. Maybe I'm overthinking it.
I think we constantly overthink these pro players stuff. I feel like often...
It's our job.
Yeah.
Is he listening for the repel sound?
Oh, he totally is. And I reckon Supreme is going to get on. Oh, he did it! OJ! When's he going to go? Now he's going to go! Oh, no, he hasn't seen him!
Bro.
Oh, no way, OJ! Hayward round the corner. Saves his teammate.
OJ,
that's unfortunate.
You're legit. You just can't lose this, man. you just can't. I don't know. That's all I have to say. You just can't lose those.
That's unfortunate. Look, how could he have known that there would be a second person there? That's probably
well,
what
he could have just killed some, and then traded 1 for 1, but he kind of, how do I put it nicely, didn't hit enough bullets on Supremacist.
I think some of us call that a whiff, actually.
Yeah, there you go. Well, someone had to say it.
They're going to sweep the map. They're going from Gon's side, Dev. They're not going to go and open up the wall and then try and do a garage take. Fair enough. There is a Zami on the board. Maybe you don't want to do a garage take.
Oh.
C4 from below is going to sink onto Hayward from Josh to try and claw back the man count. Aerial Arise still 1 up.
Sky, you have been catching everything tonight, mate. You've been catching OJ's whiffs. You've been catching the C4s. I'm loving it.
Good grief. We're not going to let him down on that one, are we?
No. I'm sorry, OJ, bro. He's having a good game. That's the only reason I have a license to say it. But Aerial Arise are in a pretty solid position right now, Mandy. There's still quite a bit of hard breach available. And as I say that, Smacker is going to get to work. Second EMP tossed out now to enable the breach. And a second Selma to make sure that this breach is big enough.
Yeah, good things from Aerial Arise. Being up in the man advantage and then going for this con-side execute might work out in their favor if they want to go for a flood and play those trades. It's certainly viable. Not only that, but getting the main breach open as well is really going to cut this defense in half. The garage play is now very separated from his 2 teammates. Inside of Cash, ooh, big peek from Quiz, but is taken down from Wet. Good trade to come out from player though on that Azami. It's been really, really good in the server.
Double digits on player, and now he's got to get 13 on the round. Bit of damage onto the first one as he repositions. They don't know. What a shot! The double! Surely not! Player tries to get back to top red, but he just can't get through the rotate. Oh, thank goodness Ariel didn't let that one slip by. Would have been an embarrassing way for the game to end. But they keep themselves alive for yet another round, Mandy.
Oh gosh, so close yet so far. Aerial Arise finally able to use that man advantage as the flood came through to go for that execute. Was a bit back and forth and messy on that breach, but as you'd expect for when you go for a big flood execute like that, you're going to be throwing bodies at the defenders. And they played the trade games pretty well towards the end there. Almost giving it away to player, but at least able to claw that one back.
Yeah, player honestly played that so well. The only thing that was super unfortunate was this rotate back in. I mean, he's going to be second-guessing himself from now. He's going to say, oh, I wish I had just gone for that kill with the Deagle. Wish I hadn't tried to run away. And OJ is now going to have to be extra careful about any rotates he makes. Looks like we're actually going down to the basement. I got debated there for a second. I thought it was a reattempt on CCTV, but no, all the way back downstairs.
Yeah, here we go. Juicy as well is going to bring along the mirror, and he's going to replicate the exact same setup that Nate was doing when he was playing the mirror on this basement bomb site. I think good idea, given the lineup that the attack is forced to bring and the type of push that they are forced to go for, which really the main viable one is that Moto and triple wall push with the setup they have. So it's going to be good to bring along that mirror to try and put a stunt in that.
I wonder if this roam is going to be more successful than Aerial Arise's basement roam was, because that didn't work out so well for them. In fact, it was really questioning, it was us questioning why did Aerial Arise go for such a heavy roam when their heavy anchor setup worked so well. And then they went back to a heavy anchor setup and actually won it. So I'm interested What's the go for Homeless here? Because last time they did just full anchor it for the most part.
Well, the thing about the Homeless room is that it's not as heavy as the Aerial Arise room is, right? Aerial Arise, they were trying to do the thing where they fall back into bar and then the bar hatches open and they fall back and yada yada yada. So they're trying to hold on to the whole map. Whereas what Homeless are doing is they're only holding on to the eastern side of the map with their roam. They're playing the stock hatch open, so that's one fall-off route. And the other fall-off route is through blue, which they can use as army barricades and that, right? So this is a much more conservative roam that Homeless are going for, so they're still leaning in towards that late round to play the bomb side.
I like this line pick here for Smacker, trying to lock those defenders in place to make it easy to flush out this roam, but the Mute Jammers are once again not going to be Aerial Arise's friend. Last time on this side, Homeless opened up the equation with 2 C4 kills through the floor. I think Aerial Arise will be ultra cautious about that this time. There are 3 in pocket for Homeless.
Starting to sweep through the map, Aerial Arise, they realize that they've been given this western side of the map for free. No defenders are there to contest them. Now, last time they tried to attack this basement bomb site, 2 of them died to C4 sinking onto them, which is very unfortunate. Through the vertical, that doesn't often happen. So this time they're being a little bit more careful about it. OJ down below, C4 in hands on that mute, of course. Not only that, I think it's 3 C4s actually. Juicy, Player, and OJ have all got them as they start to make their way on through this vertical.
I'm really keen to see what Player can achieve here, right?
Yeah.
12 and 5, and he's on this roam. He has the ability to go for a flank. He has a C4 in pocket for something special. A little punch hole. He should be aware of the down, but he's not aware of Supreme's position in lobby watching that flank. Wet should be able to be revived here as Nate goes for it. This is a tough position to fight back now for Homeless. They're really letting Aerial Arise back into this game.
They certainly are, as the vertical will start to come through. The next step for Aerial Arise will be planning out that execute phase of the round. Where are they going to take their remaining hard breach? Smacker can claim yet another one to OJ. Maybe they don't even need to. They can just go for a flood with 5 man up.
It's going to need to be massive here from Josh, but there's actually no one watching his position. Oh, it's just got to be a 1v5 though, and you never see those. You simply never see them. Caught in the crossfire, locked into Moto, and of course, Hayward goes up to the hatch and takes him down. This is somewhat of a comeback here for Aerial Arise. The score is 6-4.
Yeah, this was actually a death from above round as well. They found so much success playing that vertical game in the end. I almost cursed them by saying there were lots of C4s and they were going to die. But they didn't. There were lots of kills from above on the vertical. Juicy tried to go for a peek. There was one through the hatch just at the end there from Hayward. I believe someone else died to the kitchen vertical as well as it came through. I can't remember who it was, but that was a lot of death from above in that round. Lots of death.
Well, yeah, unfortunately that's part of the game. Yeah. But unfortunately for Homeless, it was their players falling. Almost a flawless one for Aerial as well. And I think it's safe to say that is the most convincing round we have seen for Aerial Arise this match so far. Maybe the most convincing game at all, because I can't even think of any rounds from Homeless that were that dominant.
Yeah, I think so as well. That was very good from them. They were able to take just what they needed of the map. They didn't bother to go all the way into stock and clear out the roamers there. They were just playing the flank watch where a player was. That was Supremacist holding down the line there. Able to make that vertical work nice and comfortably and close it out with that man advantage. Looks very comfortable for Aerial Arise.
And I was a bit worried for Aerial after they failed to deliver on their tactical timeout. They'd lost the following round. That was their Jim Bedram attack, which they did kind of get stonked on. And then the following round, they almost lost that 3v1. So I was very much thinking Aerial Arise kind of in the shitter. They're looking a bit scared. And then they come back and win a round as dominant as that. So maybe there is some hope here for OT.
I think there is hope. But I don't know if we can say... Can we say the line? I don't think we can say the line yet. I'm going to wait for another round to pass by and then we can say the line. Then we can say the line after that. All right. Jim Bedram, they're going to look for a sweep across the map. Nate starting out with the hard breach in hand. But someone to trick it on the other side. That's Juicy on the Bandit. No EMPs except for the baby ones on Smacker. Oh, but they're actually rotating off at Def. They don't think they're going to open it. Oh, no, they think they're going to go for the con one first. Ooh, Juicy. No good.
The timing.
Unfortunate.
Yeah. So it doesn't work out so well for Juice there. And the CCTV wall has been breached open. Still quite a bit of a hold here from 2 defenders. Josh top red, Quiz CCTV. But the players from Aerial start to make their approach.
Honestly, I felt like that's fair enough for Juicy. You already had a player coming in through Garage anyway, so even if Juicy tried to trick the wall there, he's probably going to get shot by Smacker. That's a bit the scary. I don't want to fight that, right? So instead, you just want to fall back, play your life. It's looking good. You still got Quiz with 2 reinforcement here on this cash side, rotate hold to support him, and even his mate in Josh too, so they're still pretty comfortable on this side of the map. They don't need to fall off yet.
Well, Josh has actually gone all the way down to the basement, down blue stairs. OJ is still hanging, though, in storage for now. Quiz looking to make his way down red as well. So instead of fighting for their lives, Homeless decide to retreat. Quiz is actually going to get spotted by the E1D as he retreats. That could lull Aerial Arise into a false sense of security. They might not know about OJ.
Yeah, not just that, but OJ has a C4 in hand and Valkyrie. So if they haven't spotted out the Valkyrie cameras that are inside CC, it could spell disaster. Hayward is able to collect Quiz as he's making his rotate back to the bomb site, as you were speaking about earlier, and they can start to cut it down even further, opening up the jacuzzi wall.
That was a good cut from Hayward. Good read. The Lion paid dividends, but now OJ...
Here he comes.
He has to be super careful here, Mandy. There's barbed wire. He'll make an audio cue. Supreme has no idea.
Sneaky peeky. Oh, he absolutely has no idea. There we go. OJ just rounding the corner now. Impromptu rotate on this cash door. Oh no, OJ!
The timing! The timing could not have been worse, but here it becomes better! OJ does find the one. He could have been good for 2, but Nate slips away in the nick of time. And Wet retakes now.
Oh, he's going for him though. Wet is absolutely hunting this man down. He knows it's OJ on the other side. I'm going to kill him.
Oh, but OJ
he
gets
doesn't check
him.
his left and right.
Oh, it's all fallen apart for Aerial Arise. Homeless in a 3v1 time against Nate. And I don't think he's going to find a single thing. Baiting for the final kill, the early GG. Homeless. Aerial might have made it close at the end, but it was, in all senses, a dominant match for Homeless.
Pretty comfortable from them. Player, of course, the MVP of the server by far and away, both on the attack, being that pivotal lurker, and on the defense, clutching up time and time again. What a great game from him.
And a massive redemption for Homeless as well after a rough couple of games. In fact, if my calculations are correct, they were on a 2-match losing streak before today to both Wildcard and Circular Spheres. So it's nice to close their season with a win.
It's good. They must be feeling pretty comfortable about that one.